This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and today we're in New York City. I'm here with Hugo's Cocktails. Since 2021, with fresh and all-natural ingredients, they've strived to bring the best of the bar right to your home. I am joined here with the president and co-founder, Zach Moore. Thanks so much for joining us here today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Looking forward to it.
We're going to start off a little bit about yourself. I mean, you were formerly educated right down the road from me at the University of Colorado, Denver. You began your journey into bars and beverages over a dozen years ago while serving the public as head bartender, really right there in the Big Apple. Share with us how the idea kind of came about to start Hugo's.
Yeah, so Hugo's, my business partner, Christian and I, we worked together over a decade ago at this Michelin-starred restaurant in New York called Rouge Tomate. So we were together for 3 years, easily the best person I've ever worked with, just like the continuity that he and I have. So during the pandemic, Christian was in New York. I was actually back in Colorado. So Chris lost his job, started making drinks out of his home to support his wife and his 2 children. And people just started buying them. So companies became interested. They started purchasing them from him. He and I started talking, and it really just became kind of this thing where, do we actually try to make this a legit business?
Great story. Sounds like true entrepreneurs. I mean, you guys basically took a situation and went, looks like the public likes this. Let's keep moving. I mean, having worked in some of the best bar programs in New York City, I mean, that qualifies you to explain to our viewers why the premium cocktail craze is increasing in bars across the world, and what is it about a cocktail that makes it probably continue to be so popular?
I first moved here in 2008, and New York was really kind of ahead of the curve in its cocktail bars, cocktail culture in general. For myself personally, like a great, well-crafted cocktail, it's just, perfectly balanced. It, I don't know, kind of like takes you to a place in your head, like who you're with, hanging out with, the flavors. And similar to sort of, like the craft beer movement, where people used to just think about beers as this, I'm going to have my Bud Light, I'm going to have my Coors Light, whatnot. And then in the 90s, you had this, particularly out of Denver, you had this huge surge of craft breweries, different styles, really made people think, I think, more about beer. And we launched last year. We started working on the idea in 2021. But I think you're going to just see this continual drift towards more and more actual cocktails in cans, something that consumers will become used to. You don't necessarily have the time or the skill to make your own drinks at home, but you want something like delicious. This is really where it's going. I see it going the next 5 years. It's already the fastest growing market in the alcohol beverage space. Yeah, specifically what you call craft cocktails.
We can all picture that cocktail right next to the beach. In our heads, that kind of equates good times, enjoying life. I mean, you took the unfortunate circumstance of the pandemic to start this company. Was learning for some of the greatest talent in the industry really kind of the foundation for your products, would you say?
The only thing we had confidence, I would say, going into it was that we knew how to make great drinks. My business partner and I, we had no idea what we were getting into in terms of launching a business, in terms of branding, in terms of all of the legal loopholes we were going to have to jump through. But absolutely, we know how to make great drinks. The first time I bartended, I was awful, just truly abysmal. But over the years with that practice, you get the confidence, what you personally like to drink. You have a range of guests over a decade plus that you can kind of see, where their palates are, what they like to drink. So hands down, it started with, we feel like we can make great drinks.
You're working from recipes that you have honed throughout the years. The goal was to create drinks that were probably hopefully better than some of those that you had tried in the canned cocktail area. I mean, is it safe to say that you were inspired by the good ones and probably realized the bad ones need to be replaced?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of letting, consumers decide, right? Like even like my personal opinions on what is good and bad, I really don't pay too much attention to it. Some of my like best selling drinks that I've made bartending, I personally didn't like. Um, but paying attention to like what my customers like and the way that we approach it with Hugo is, we want everyone to have a great drink. So we want to make drinks that,
Yeah.
across a broad spectrum that the average person, you don't need to know what's a makes for a great cocktail. You just need to know, like, I like this drink. So we focus on flavors. There's a lot of bad stuff out there. You're definitely not wrong about that. There's a lot of good stuff out there, but that's like any industry, you're going to find,
Yeah.
I think the consumer always is going to find what they like. And that's what's going to drive, it's going to drive our business, whether we succeed or fail. And I can think I made the greatest drink ever. And if no one else likes it, then what does it really matter,
So really listen to your customers, listen to the consumer out there. Their taste buds obviously differ. I mean, I'm here in Colorado where our reputation is the country's ground zero for small batch breweries. I'm not a beer guy myself, and I always order a cocktail. Can that same fresh taste in a bar be experienced in a can? And do fresh ingredients really play a big part for that to happen?
I think it's like yes and no. What we're at least trying to do with Hugo's is, I don't think you'll be able to ever replicate like truly like the great cocktail bars throughout the world. That's not what we're looking to do. But our drinks specifically, they have all natural, incredibly fresh stuff in them. It's more costly to produce because of that. But at the end of the day, like, we are seeing and trying to get as close to that fresh cocktail that you would get in a bar, or I should say a good bar, because I think our drinks are actually better than a lot of like mediocre places. But I think you're going to see this, say, I'm from Colorado, you go to Red Rocks, you have a long line for a concert, you want an actual good drink, but just because of manpower and employees, right, you can't spit out that many cocktails. So
Yep.
I think as the quality improves, you're gonna see that becoming more of a thing. You get your cup and your ice, and you literally you shake our drink, pour it over ice, and you have a fresh cocktail. Like,
Not
absolutely.
like you say, not to mention the convenience of it all. You can have it right in the can, throw it over some ice if you're at home. I mean, let's talk about some of these classic cocktails that we all know, but you have really infused kind of with your own unique blends. The margarita with passion fruit and habanero. Does this have the taste and the kick to make it a favorite for you, would you say?
Since we launched a little over a year ago, that's been the most popular drink. We didn't, there's already a lot of product on the market that is safer. So let's just take the margarita, and they're just making margaritas. So, it's your standard margarita, tequila, triple sec, lime juice, a little bit of sugar. So in our case, what we wanted to do is like, what does, Hugo's take on it? So Hugo itself, we did a play on the word. My business partner is from Ecuador. So the word juice in Spanish is Hugo. So Hugo's represents all of our first three cocktails have over 50% fresh juice in them. So we wanted to lean into that. So this is really that sort of like tropical passion fruit, tequila, margarita variation, and then you get this hint of habanero as you're drinking it on the back of your mouth. But so it's supposed to evoke a margarita, but by no means it's not a classic margarita. We're not trying to make classics. We're trying to make sort of what's our spin on something that's fun and people engage with the flavors, but isn't just the same. I mean, you could literally line up 10 brands margarita, 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 and all very, very, very similar.
People, I mean, let's face it, consumers love variety. That's what I love to find in different cans, your spin on it. I mean, one of my personal favorites is the mule. So obviously this ginger Fuji apple has my taste buds kind of curious. Tell me more about this fresh pressed favorite. How'd that come about?
So that one was in New York, upstate. There's this. It's called Red Jacket Orchards. You find like their cold pressed Fuji apple juice in most of the bodegas throughout the city. So when we were thinking about our Moscow Mule, we just have always like loved their juice. So we started fooling around with their juice. In general, apple and ginger go really well together. So this has that like refreshing apple up front, and then it cuts that like nice gingery beer. And again, just, doing our take on it, not trying to do,
That's what makes it enjoyable for the consumer. They love when you take your own take on it. I mean, these can be purchased by the case online and even in Hugo's mix pack, which includes the 95 high ranking strawberry basil lemonade. Obviously, these are all favorites you guys are putting together, and you're finding out that the enthusiasts out there are enjoying them as well. I mean, this company was created during a very serious time in our history. Yet you are delivering a product to friends and family back then that you really kind of hoped would lighten that serious mood. Is it still the goal to deliver life lived less seriously?
Yeah, absolutely. When we did this, I think it was partly inspired by the pandemic, partly inspired by like my own personal life choices, and I had a cousin once describe me as you're serious, but you're not serious. And this sort of thing just stuck in my head, particularly coming out of the pandemic. Like everyone, I think understandably we see the world differently. And when it came to launching this cocktail brand, to me, drinking is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be, ideally it's to have a great time, to lighten up, to be, less serious about yourself, maybe not so judgmental about others. And the serious side of it is kind of us saying, let us take care of the cocktails, and that's the serious part. And then, the less serious part, just enjoy yourself, relax, have fun. Hopefully you love the drinks. But drinking should be a fun communal activity. And I think particularly during the pandemic, we saw a lot of that. Like people were bonding over getting our drinks.
Viewers, take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is their website, where you can see all the products they provide and see where the states are that you can find these great cocktails. I mean, these are award-winning, fresh, fruit-forward cocktails. They're enjoyed right from the can or over ice, in your home, or wherever life may take you. Once again, that is Hugo's Cocktails. Life lived less seriously. This is Atencio with CNTV. And if you don't know, now you know.